Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we got the Warcraft news, including some class changes for the Druid, Shaman, Paladin, and Mage, potential changes in the future to dungeon spamming for experience points, players already being burnt out, and so much more from the community comments. My name is Sky from the Comeback Kids. This is your Season of Discovery news. Grab a cup of coffee, sit down. We got a lot to discuss today. By the way, if you're interested in leveling up efficiently and finding your runes quickly and painlessly as possible, check out in the description below our Rested XP link. Not only by doing this, you support the channel, but you gain direct benefits as well. It's literally the best guide out there for World of Warcraft. I promise, won't be disappointed. Okay, well, I guess Season of Discovery is over. Everyone's level 40, they've done the raid, we've all done the PvP event, got all the pre-bis farming done, and I think it's time to wrap this thing up. 1 week inside a Season of Discovery was really all everyone needed. At least that's what this player thinks over on the forums, stating that it's nothing but empty content, dungeons are pointless, there's no good PvP rewards, did GNOMERGAN one single time, and they're good. Then proceeds to talk about how retail World of Warcraft and how great it is. Now, I want to make something very clear. This isn't about to turn into a retail versus classic rant, because I personally think retail has great features. But I will say, however, intentionally rushing as quickly as you can to level 40, getting all your pre-biz, doing the PvP event as quickly as you can, and then running GNOMERGAN all within 6 days of the phase being active is probably a recipe for burning yourself out, and honestly, it's nothing but unhealthy at this point. It seems I'm not the only one who feels this way either, with a ton of players under this responding with things such as, so you spent all your time on Season of Discovery as soon as it launched, and now you're bored. Damn, that's weird. You guys have to remember, ladies and gentlemen, World of Warcraft isn't about reaching max level and just running the raid. Especially classic World of Warcraft, which is where Season of Discovery is based. You have tons of professions to choose from and to farm out, multiple battleground reputations to farm, world PvP, open world events, gold farming, roleplay if you're into that sort of thing. I mean, this is the same thing you've always done in World of Warcraft in every expansion and phase, is it not? The reason I've been emphasizing to take your time and enjoy the journey in Season of Discovery is because we are going to be spending 3 months inside of each phase, and trying to rush and complete all the content within less than a week is just doing nothing but set yourself up for a burnout disaster. Steamrolling dungeons over and over and spamming them for experience is not the most fun way you could play Season of Discovery, which is supposed to be based off of community and, well, discovering. And it seems like players are complaining about this over on the forums as well as Twitter, asking for them to lower dungeon experience, pushing people into doing multiple types of different activities next phase. And lo and behold, it's something the developers are actively looking at and discussing. Now, with a user over on Twitter, he actually stated, "I've been having a blast playing Phase 2, you guys really nailed it. I do have one small complaint. I feel like dungeon spamming is heavily incentivized since you level significantly faster and get way better gear by doing the same dungeons over and over again." Agron actually responded to this, stating, "I think I largely agree with this. Not sure what, if anything, we might change next phase, but it's something to discuss for sure." Now listen, personally, ladies and gentlemen, if you're asking me, in my opinion, I could very easily get a lot of hate for this in the comment section below, but I do not like the whole dungeon spamming for experience meta inside of Season of Discovery. I think it's fine for any other version of World of Warcraft that has, 60 plus levels to go through and bang out. But if you're talking about a season that's dedicated to taking your time and enjoying the ride, discovering and experiencing things you've never seen inside of World of Warcraft, it just doesn't really seem to fit the theme here. I don't know, let me know what you all think about the dungeon spamming meta inside of Season of Discovery right now in the comment section below, because I'm really curious to hear about it. Additionally, Agron was also asked if there were any insights on Rogue Tank because they're underperforming on AoE pulls with Threat. He responds on this stating that we prefer that any version of vanilla not to be gather everything up and AoE it down fiestas all the time. There are other versions of WoW for that. Now, there are probably classes that are too good at AoE threat already. That might be a problem we need to solve. But generally, we think the sweet spot for most classes is to be able to hold 2 or 3 mobs pretty reliably. Tanks may need to be more comfortable if 1 or 2 mobs run off toward DPS in a pull. This might make you uncomfortable as a tank seeing things run off, but it was an earmark of vanilla World of Warcraft, and this isn't a philosophy that's changed inside of SoD. Now, I do love the idea of an MMORPG where threat and multiple mobs being pulled at a time matter, and you know, the creatures and the mobs inside of dungeons are much harder and impactful in the game. The issue is we are so powerful inside of Season of Discovery. You could pull dozens of mobs at a time. And if you don't believe me, here's actually me pulling about 20 on my Enhancement Shaman tank and keeping them grouped up just about perfectly without losing any threat against 2 other mages. Now, don't get the wrong idea here, because I leveled up to 40 the normal way. This was just simply to show the strength on classes like the Enhancement Shaman and Protection Paladin at AoE pulling inside of dungeons. So either way, one of 2 things has to happen. They either nerf the capabilities of Enhancement and Protection Paladin's AoE tanking potential, or they greatly increase Rogue's potential, similar to how they're doing with Druids, which leads us into our next big headline segment of today. Ladies and gentlemen, we officially just got more class changes. That's right, buckle in, because there's class tuning coming inside a Season of Discovery for the Druid, Shaman, Mage, and the Paladin. The developers did state that they want everyone to keep in mind that this is an ongoing process and they'll be making tactical adjustments over the next several weeks. Just because your class isn't listed here doesn't mean they aren't listening and considering other changes. So don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure they could keep track of the fact that other classes are doing insane damage right now, and tuning will be coming. So starting off, we have the Guardian Druid tanks. Get ready to rejoice, because Swipe is actually getting buffed. It will now scale with your attack power, gaining 10% as additional damage. Additionally, threat caused by Swipe has been greatly increased, and this is going to be a huge, huge deal for Area of Effect threat holding, as bear tanks are just so bad right now in that department. They're pretty much as bad as rogues, so hopefully that solves that problem. Not only that, for Guardian Druids, your Berserk rune will now also cause your Lacerate to hit 3 nearby targets, giving you a nice burst window to apply bleeds on multiple targets to deal some really nice sustained DPS as well. For Feral DPS, the duration of your Rip has been increased to 16 seconds, which was previously 12, which is going to give them some more time to generate 5 combo points and spend it on maybe other finishers, such as Ferocious Bite or Savage Roar. For Balanced Druids, after the Star Surge rework, they buffed the damage of your next cast of Starfire to now have its damage increase from 66% up to 80%, and it also corrected a bug causing this damage to be lower than intended, so we could definitely be seeing a big DPS overall increase for Druids inside of raids, because I'm sure Starfire is going to be hitting like a nuke now. Moving on to some other massive class changes, we have the Shaman, with your dual wield specialization rune now providing 50% bonus damage to your offhand weapon swings, and now your Lava Lash gaining 50% increased damage if Flame Tongue weapon is imbued on your offhand. Now, it's not a shocker to everyone that right now, dual wield is just better than two-handed specialization in just about every way, shape, or form. The DPS is just way more consistent. You get 10% more hit on spells and melee attacks, and now the 50% damage bonus to your offhand weapon swings is just looking so good for dual wield spec. It just makes it so lopsided. Blizzard did, however, buff the proc chance of Maelstrom by a roughly about 50% or higher when your main hand weapon or two-handed weapon is imbued with Wind Fury, which is, once again, just leads me to believe that dual wield is getting significantly buffed while two-handed is just starting to lag behind a bit more and more. In my personal opinion, I think they should completely rework the two-handed specialization rune as a whole, because simply attacking faster just doesn't feel good to play. As an Enhancement Shaman main, I would personally love if they would rework it to give you maybe 5% chance to hit with your spells and melee attacks, while also increasing your attack power by a flat amount that scales with your level, similar to where your Rock Biter weapon attack power would be. That way, you would have almost like Wind Fury and Rock Biter on at the same time, while also having some additional hit to spells and attacks to somewhat make it competitive, because I think right now it's going to get very lopsided on Tuesday. Next up, we have Mages with an incredible quality of life change, being that your Conjure Water will now conjure a full stack of 20 instead of 2, which is a huge time saver, so shout out to the devs on that one. Lastly, we have Paladin, which they are going to get some buffs as well. Your Art of War will now reduce the mana cost of your Exorcism and Holy Shock by 80%, which is going to significantly help their single target DPS and shock it in PvP potentially. Also, your Beacon of Light based mana cost has been greatly decreased as well, so a lot of love to Holy Paladin and Ret Paladin here, but here's the funny thing about this though. The Paladin changes that we just spoke about are actually going to be active in the game already right now, but the thing is, for everyone else, they're going to have to wait till February 20th. Now, what's the reason behind this? I'm not really sure. I just think it's a really strange coincidence at this point that the Paladin of all classes is getting more of their changes instantly over everybody. I just thought that was really funny. Just remember, ladies and gentlemen, they are going to be making more class changes, as we did go over it earlier in this video. Of course, we will keep you all updated on that as well. Now, please, if you guys have any other additional comments about your class on the places that they are struggling in, leave it in the comment section below. And when I say that, I don't just mean whine about it. I mean actually give me an argument toward the way you feel and why you feel that way, so I can discuss it in the next news video. Additionally, if you're watching this video the same day I posted it, I am going to be running GNOMERGAN with the Comeback Kids Guild for the first time tonight, completely blind. That means no deadly boss mods, no add-ons to help us, no video guides, or any help whatsoever. So if you're interested, come check out the stream, order a pizza, get some wings. Let's go down some bosses and hang out tonight. And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, it seems we are at our community section part of the video, where we take your opinions and comments from below in our comment section, shout them out, discuss them a little bit, man. So if you have something to comment about Season of Discovery so far in Phase 2, let the developers and players know about it in the comment section below. Starting off with our first comment, we have Uncle Ruckus stating they need to add like 10 stamina to every piece of gear around level 40, so everyone has around 1k HP more. Now, I do like this idea of a health increase, so you don't just get one-shotted in PvP, especially mages. However, I think it should stay for only PvP content. For example, what they can do is that once you engage in PvP combat, your maximum health is increased by like 25, 30, 40%. I've touched on this multiple times throughout my last few videos, and I think it's actually a really, really important thing to talk about, because right now, as an Elemental Shaman or even Enhancement Shaman, I could hit people for like 1,500 to 2,000 damage, depending on my luck and RNGs and procs and all that. Same thing for Shadow Priest with like Mind Blast critting and Shadow War Death at the same time. So honestly, I think everyone just needs some more stamina, because our health just doesn't match the damage output. I think it's very, very lopsided. Additionally, we have Theoden stating, rather than buffing the melee classes directly, I expect them to just decrease the armor value of bosses so the rest of the melees will catch up to the other casters. However, Melee Hunter will be totally out of control and require adjustment. Yeah, I do think it's a bit odd that the only melee DPS in the top 7 DPS overall is a Melee Hunter. Not only that, they're actually #1 overall throughout all percentages, which means the gap between them and other melee DPS is probably the biggest I personally have ever seen inside of Warcraft's logs, rating online, which is pretty surprising to me. I do think they are going to tune Melee Hunter up a bit and sort of decrease the armor value of bosses inside of GNOMERGAN, but personally, I would just hope they hold it off, decreasing those bosses by like maybe a few weeks, 2, 3, 4 weeks. I mean, it's a 3-month-long phase. For example, physical DPS inside of Phase 1 just dominated the entire time, so I don't see that being crazy case if casters tend to do that right now. Lastly, we have one of our Comeback Kids community members stating, I used to be sweaty, so let me live out my last bit of sweat inside of Season of Discovery. Let us have 4 weeks with no nerfs in the raid. I mean, we all proved we could slap bosses inside of Classic, so just let us have the time to test other builds, swap out runes per bosses, things like that before nerfing everything. Maybe it'll show you a new build that you like and that you didn't even know existed. And honestly, I do have to agree with this statement, because I would prefer that they, once again, hold off on the nerfs for a good amount of time. I want to go in there as maybe multiple different like gameplay styles of Shaman, whether it be Enhancement or Elemental, but I just don't want to go in there when everything is super easy and we have it on farm within the 2nd or 3rd lockout. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think they should nerf the raid, or should they keep it the way it is? I know melee is tough right now, and you gotta avoid a lot of mechanics, and the bosses are annoying. Just, is it really that big of a deal? Let me know about it in the comment section below. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, we are streaming now. We're doing like a podcast episode talk show very, very soon on Season of Discovery, and we put some serious quality and effort in making these live streams good. So if you want to come on down, hang out, and just enjoy each other's company, we would absolutely love to have you there. Remember, leave a comment below for me to respond to it live here on these news videos to have a little bit of a discussion and talk about it, man. I would love to see your guys' opinions on the topics in these videos. So, if you want your voice to be heard, let me hear all about it. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to like and subscribe to get absolutely flooded with Season of Discovery content. I want to thank you all so much for watching this video. It's an absolute pleasure to be making content for you all. Until the very end, my name is Sky from the Comeback Kids. I will see you all in the next one. Peace.